Hardships often prepare ordinary people for an extraordinary destiny. C.S. Lewis. In our last episode, we watched some amazing anchor races, explored a beautiful botanical garden, then checked out Guadalupe. We started our trip to Rendezvous Bay on the island of Montserrat so we could explore a still active volcano.
Alright, we are finally leaving Guadalupe. You can see behind me there is a nice high-rise back there. That's actually an active volcano on Montserrat. We had a good time. It was about 3 or 4 weeks in Guadalupe, hanging out with Jesse and Stacy from Sailing Vessel Smitty. Also got to meet the guys from Sia and also Pisces, another Antares that we stumbled across on our last stop there in Guadalupe. They just happened to come down, so we hung out with them for a couple days. But now we have finally left Guadalupe, and we are coming up on Montserrat. We are going to take a tour over there. There's a little exclusionary zone where some of the volcano had kind of overtaken some of the town over there. You're not really supposed to go there, but I guess they can get a permit for tours. So we're going to do that tomorrow, go tour the volcano and then go check out the exclusionary zone, take a look at some of that area. But we're finally making our way back north towards St. Thomas. It's not looking too bad right now.
Montserrat is a British overseas territory and part of the Leeward Islands of the Lesser Antilles. The island is only 10 miles wide by 7 miles long. In the 1600s, the island was widely settled by Irishmen that were merchants, plantation owners, and indentured servants. Irish was a widely spoken language on the island until as recently as the 1900s. Today, most people speak English with hints of an Irish or Caribbean accent.
Look at those little goat climbers. These little mountain goats. Oh, I wonder if they found snails there or something.
After we checked into the country, we met up with Sun from Montserrat Island Tours to start our trip around the island.
We're looking at Center Hills in the middle of the island, of course. Also volcanic. As I said, we have 4 volcanic regions, and the south is where the active part is, and of course to the left, to the north, we have the Silver Hills area, which normally is a bit more gray and dry than what.
We stopped by the Hilltop Coffee House for a little history and a drink before resuming our drive.
The original National Trust is buried in Plymouth, and the gift shop is just.
Sun loves talking about the island's history, and his narration is intertwined with actual radio broadcasts from the time of the eruption.
Where he's stooping over and picking his toe is where Zone A begins. You'll hear a pre-evacuation order
which took place at
from the
3
governor.
o'clock. The scientists have told us that they can no longer guarantee 6 hours notice, which we
This is previously evacuated.
been told was a reasonable expectation. Our contingency plan was predicated upon that. But we now have to review the situation in light of the new report.
We made several stops inside the exclusion area, and Sun took the opportunity to show us old photos of the town and tell us some interesting stories.
Character who was, let's call him non-neurotypical, and he wasn't quite with it, and he decided to stay in the town. Police kept urging him to leave. It was a ghost town at the time. A lot of this area was, after May of '96, most of the area down past Richmond Hill was evacuated, and he stayed, had the whole town to himself, and they took about 800,000 EC dollars, not knowing it was uncirculated cash, in a very wide serial range. So it's very, caught up with them. They caught up with them eventually. And Nevermead had told the police that he heard jumpings in the bank, folklore for spirits, believing that, of course, what he heard of the bank robbery was spirits in the bank. And Barclays did come for the money eventually, and they found out there were jumpings in the bank. But they didn't believe him at all. Of course, they didn't think anything of him. He finally did leave, and he died of natural cause. 2 floors buried beneath him. And what you should know is that we are effectively in the water. So the shore was just to our left, and this is lonely land. And it's just a different type of magma, very blocky, and the viscosity is just very hard compared to the fluid magma. But it's all a type of lava. And the old attic restaurant is that small little gray building that the roof is not there of anymore. That's why it was called the attic. It was the top floor of that little tiny gray building.
So behind me is the town of Plymouth, which is now covered under a lot of volcanic ash. Here enjoying the tour with our guide Sunny. Fancy little red van he's taking us out with Jesse and Stacy from Smitty. It's kind of neat to see how the volcano has changed the town. Parts of it are becoming inhabitable in some of the sections, but right now we're in one that's not, out on the old pier that used to be right in the middle of downtown. Now it's empty.
In 97, 19 people on the East Coast, because it was a horseshoe-shaped depression, which wasn't closed, so we didn't think crater or caldera. But what we realize now is that the second mountain from the left and the second mountain from the right, those and one behind you cannot see, form a triangulation. And in the center of that is this blue lava dome.
Sun took us to see some of the buildings that were completely engulfed in the volcanic ash, sometimes 2 or 3 floors high. It was a little surreal to see the devastation caused by nature. There are still many items of this once bustling city, like office supplies or store carts, still visible, half buried in the ash. July of 1995 started the current active era for the Soufriere Hills volcano, which continues to this day. In the years following 1995, Montserrat saw 2/3 of their population relocate, mostly to the United Kingdom. The island population is slowly growing again, and there are 5,000 residents as of 2016. Large parts of the island are still uninhabitable, and it is unknown when people will be able to move back near the volcano. After the exclusionary zone, we visited the Montserrat Volcano Observatory, where several organizations are based that track the volcanic activity on the island. There is a small information booth and a short video detailing the history of the volcano.
Beautiful. Deadly. Pyroclastic flows, silent superheated mixtures of blocks, ash and gases. In the daytime, they look like expanding energetic masses of grey cauliflower as they rush down the mountainside as a dense current of convecting ash at speeds of 100 miles an hour and more. At night, we see that they are red-hot flows with temperatures reaching 600 degrees centigrade, incinerating everything in their path.
Our final stop was a refreshing drink from Runaway Galt. Legend has it that if you drink from the fountain, you will return one day to Montserrat. We thoroughly enjoyed our tour with Sun and would highly recommend his services if you're on the island. Our time in the Caribbean and with the crew of sailing vessel Smitty was coming to an end. The horizon was calling us, and we were finally setting off towards St. Thomas and then back to Florida.
Well, here we are on our way from Montserrat to St. Thomas. We're gonna go get our water maker taken care of, maybe. But I thought it was kind of irritating and neat at the same time. We're out here in the middle of the ocean. I got a couple islands. We're just past the St. Kitts and stuff, but there is like zero wind, and the ocean is like flat calm. So at least since there's no wind and the ocean's calm, we can motor like 7 knots, but we're not sailing anywhere right now. It's kind of crazy.
If you enjoyed this episode, hit that like button and remember to subscribe. Coming up, we make our way back to Florida and Lisa swims with some humpback whales. We'll see you guys next time.